my birthday, baby. Smoke my butt.
Come on, smoke his butt. Now that's an intro.
Oh, no way. Oh my god! No way! Oh my
Welcome, everybody, to episode 112 of 1 million of the Serial Chillers podcast. And, as I always ask, how goes it? Hello, Greg.
I'm good, man.
Just smoking butts?
Yep, smoking butts.
Yeah.
That's not cigarettes either. We're just smoking butts.
Birthday butts.
Yeah.
Birthday butts.
And we're here with Dustin and Ashley, and we'll get to them in a moment. But first, most of you know how the show works. Let me explain it for anybody that doesn't. Each week, I sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends to tell the story of an infamous serial killer, something true crime, dark, creepy, unsolved, or otherwise mysterious. If something isn't clear, be sure to chime in, because if you have questions about questions, make sure to ask questions, because I cannot answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. Are there any questions? All right, then welcome to and let's play the Serial Chillers podcast. Pretend you hear a theme song here.
I'm going to put it in after you do that.
Cool. All right, today's killer, tell me, have you guys heard of Richard David Falco?
No.
Doesn't sound familiar.
Good. Question number 1. In what year was Richard David Falco born? In what year?
This is the one where I hold off on the title.
Did you forget?
No.
Okay.
No, I remembered. I fucking remembered.
I'm proud.
Richard
You're proud.
David Falco.
Yeah, Dick David Falco.
Old Dick David.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, no, I'm not ready.
Okay.
You ever done Dick Dingers?
Give me a year, too.
That is the year.
Oh, I thought you said year.
It says 42.
Oh, fuck. It looks like it says 2-2, like February 2nd.
Man.
Okay, 42 and 64.
What?
Give Dustin 250 points because Richard David Falco was born June 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. I'm walking it. I'm sorry, New York. Please don't hurt me.
We got to say.
I have a question about a question.
All right, what's up?
Are these if you go over, then you're wrong?
No. Price is Right rules here do come into effect if, okay, so Richard David Falco was born in 1953. If Dustin had said 55 and you had said 51, you would have won because Price is Right rules would have set you guys the same distance apart, so we would have given it to you then. It's the only time Price is Right rules come into effect.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did my math wrong, that's why.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's not money. This isn't the Price is Right. There's a lot of ways that things can go. So, full guest intros. Welcome, Dustin and Ashley. How are you guys?
Good.
Hello.
Thank you.
Doing
How are
good.
you?
I'm good. Just to throw this out there, because I don't think you guys know the dates we record. It's Dustin's birthday. It's also Greg's birthday.
Happy birthday, Greg.
Thanks,
So-
you too.
So we're doing a little celebrating here. I don't know if you guys saw. There's a cake on the table. We're gonna smash it in some motherfucker's face eventually. Just kidding. It's beautiful. We're gonna
Once
eat
we
it.
light it.
Yeah. But yeah, happy birthday,
Smash it in
guys.
someone's face while it's
Thanks.
on fire.
Thank you for spending your birthdays with us because, we know that you have a choice to spend your birthday with anyone. So thank you for spending it with us.
So thank you for spending your birthday with Serial Chillers.
Thank you for that was I don't know if that was dramatic pause or you
No.
choked on your own
He
spit,
was
man. I liked
swallowing.
it.
I got
He's all choked. No, he's
I got
all
choked up about the moment.
It is a lot of love around here. I can feel it. I have boner.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's been nothing but love since everybody showed up.
We've just been
Smoking
talking
too many
about
butts.
smoking butts and passing out
Yeah,
from
he's
blood
been
rushing
smoking too
from
many
head
butts.
to
He's got a
head.
hair in the back of his throat.
All right, let me give you guys a few references and citations for this episode. One of them is Richard David Falco's own website. Fuck him, I'm not giving it out. You guys can go look for it later if you want, but he's a piece of shit, so I'm not going to give it to you.
Dick David.
Grunge.com. I can't give you his name. Richard David Falco's Chilling Motivation to Kill by Remy Millisky, and crimemuseum.org, Richard David Falco, / his nickname we're going to use later, and the Wikipedia. It gets tough when you,
I know.
disguise their name and then you have to give these references.
You've done a good job. You did a good job last time. I'm curious to see if you can keep the steam.
Luckily, we don't have to go for very long. His real name, you guys don't know him by Richard David Falco, but that is his real name.
Dick David Falco.
I know, I think it's Dick.
Born Dick David Falco on the 1st of June, 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, his biological mother was a woman named Elizabeth Broder, known to some as Betty. Elizabeth, Beth, Betty, that works for me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
She was briefly married to a man named Tony Falco.
Let me ask you this.
Is Tony Falco one of the cooler names we've ever heard? Yes.
That, but also, if Betty is okay for a nickname for Elizabeth, would Queen Betty be okay? Would also Elizabeth Boop be okay?
Elizabeth Boot?
Boop?
Boop? Oh, because
Betty
of,
Boop.
Yeah, so
that's why she goes by Betty. Her name is Elizabeth, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so let's get back to this. She was briefly married, Betty. Wow, we got off on a big tangent, didn't we? She was briefly married to a man named Tony. After only a few years, he would leave her for another woman. Not too long after, Betty began an on and off relationship with a married man about 3 years prior to the birth of little Dick Falco. Or little, or little Richard, as I like to call him.
I think little Dick Falco is probably the funniest thing I've heard today. It sounds like the worst mob name. Like, hey, this is Johnny Rotten Socks, and this is Little Dick Falco.
What's funny is
why do they call you that? He's all, shut the fuck up and don't worry about it.
What's funny is the alternative is Little Richard. So 3 years prior to Little Richard being born is when they started dating. The man with whom she was in the relationship was obviously not too keen on her having a child, as he was already kind of, wrapped up in his own family that he was cheating on her with. Can't be having that side action. Question number 2. What did he request Betty do with the child? Was it A, have an abortion? B, not give it his last name? C, put it up for adoption? Or D, give it to him to raise?
You know what? I'll do it myself.
I mean, honestly, what if you had a wife who wanted a kid and you needed to get rid of another woman? You could do some altruistic thing where you're like, you know what, hun? I knew you wanted a child, so I adopted us one. That sounds like a total fucking...
good news and bad news. Good news, our baby is healthy.
Bad news, it was not born of your blood.
I found a baby.
Okay, so question number 2. What did he request Betty do with the child? Have an abortion, not give it his last name, put it up for adoption, or give it to him to raise? Ashley said put it up for adoption. Dustin said abort that bitch. And
Fetus the fetus?
The fetus.
So his name was Joseph Kleinman. He told Betty that she better not fucking give the baby his last name when it was born. That seems reasonable.
Wait a second.
But they're married, correct? Or
No,
they're
no.
not married.
He's
so
married.
that wouldn't even make sense.
He's
that
married.
she wouldn't give him the last
She
name.
can if she
Oh,
chooses
you're
to.
right.
Yeah,
Oh, now I feel horrible.
Yeah.
He only
not
got
being
250 points on the first one, huh?
Yes.
Oh, I'm over here
No, I
spotting
got
him.
1,000. I got
I'm
1,000.
over here
Fuck
spotting
you,
him
Greg.
some birthday
Hey, you can't
points.
take
No.
back.
Buddy.
You can't take shit back.
Nope, sorry, Dustin.
Everything I've won today, I've given
This shit's
him.
fucking
This
rigged.
is not
Fix
the
the
same.
board. Fix the board. Oh, you want to win by cheating?
Yeah, everything I won.
Well,
When's
what?
it win?
Ashley gets points and then I lose some? This is some bullshit.
Did she get points on that?
No, I did not.
Nobody
No,
got points on
no.
that one.
Oh,
Good.
never mind.
Nobody got
I'm
points.
winning.
Dustin
I'm
just
winning.
lost
Never mind.
750
Oh my god.
points.
Thanks,
Great
Dustin.
answers, guys. Negative 750 points to Dustin. All right. His name was Joseph Kleinman, but he told Betty that she'd better not give the baby his last name when it was born. She agreed and fucked off because she finally realized that this was not the situation for her or her future child, little Dick, who she would clearly nourish until he is able to bloom into a little ray of sunshine.
Into a big dick.
So effed off means she left.
Yeah, she was like,
Okay,
fuck it,
she did.
fine.
She
I don't
didn't
need
stand
Kleinman. I'm going to do this shit myself. I'm a strong, independent woman.
Got it.
And of course, that's what the show's about, remember? Incredibly morally upright individuals with good heads on their shoulders. That's what we're... Nope.
People who make good decisions. High IQ plays.
Yeah. Within only a few days, Betty would give up the child, hoping that he would have a better life than she could provide him. Spoiler alert. No. Richard was quickly adopted by a Jewish-American couple from the Bronx by the names of Pearl and Nathan. He would be the only child that they ever had. So,
Aww.
got into a nice home. a couple who were looking to have a child. I mean, this seems like a perfect situation, right?
How?
When he first became their child, the first thing they did was switch up his name a little to make it their own. He was only a few days old, so he didn't know what the fuck was going on anyway. Once this name is arranged in its final form, you'll likely become apparent to the two of you, and anyone listening that somehow missed the title of the episode, who this person actually is. After the adoption, the name, his new last name, and the reversal of his first and middle name would give him the new name of David Richard Berkowitz.
That sounds nice.
You know it?
Oh, now do you know who this is?
David would grow to have a troubled childhood, but it did not seem to be due to anything that the Berkowitzes did or did not do. Throughout his early education, he would prove to be an above-average student, but would slowly begin to lose interest in education. He was far more into shithead activities and the actions that came with that.
He got tired of people going, "What are you, some kind of smart guy?"
No, I'm Little Dick! Things such as larceny, mostly, but of the petty variety. He started small fires, which I will admit as a boy, like, come on, we all had a little fascination.
Who has
But I started fires in my backyard in, like, this metal bowl I stole out of my mom's kitchen. Like, I was fairly safe. I wasn't, like, burning my neighbor's apartment complexes down and shit like that, so...
I burned your neighbor's apartment complex down.
Sweet, that was you. I got blamed for that.
Shouldn't have been fucking around in your backyard.
So, like, don't burn people's things down. If you're going to steal, do it from corporations.
Or if you're gonna burn down, like, something.
Yeah, y'all seen Donnie Darko, right?
Like, yeah, burn down something that means something, not just like a warehouse where homeless people sleep.
Like somebody's cat in a bag.
Yeah. Or like I said, steal from the corporation.
Yeah, like burn down a bank or something.
Corporations can eat a dick. Steal from them as often as you like. And it's possible. When David is 14, Pearl passes away due to breast cancer. So his mother, they were close as a mother and son would be. David very much loved his adoptive mother, and her death was very hard for him. His life would not get any better from that spot forward, however. He and Nathan grieved Pearl's death together, but I think David suffered longer. And when Nathan finally started dating again, David never liked any of the women that he brought home. I think that would be hard regardless of what, you're...
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's just different. Especially, I think it'd be different, too, like if you had divorced parents and they started dating versus one of them died and they started dating. I feel like it's a little bit of a different hump to get over. Either way, when Nathan became engaged to be married, it angered David severely. Enough so that David would later claim to have never liked his new stepmother at all. However, David would live with his father and throughout high school and some of his college education. Not satisfied with his prospects in life, at the age of 17, David decides that he'll join the military. Question number 3. This one is open-ended. In what branch did he enlist? Something like 6 or 7, so...
Look at this.
In what branch
did
he enlist?
Thank you.
You guys got... In what branch did he enlist? Space Force.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did Space Force become a thing?
Hold on, let's see if I can spell.
I know, I spelled mine wrong too.
1969?
Dustin and Ashley both say the Navy. Well, give these motherfuckers 0 points because David Berkowitz joined the Army.
Another negative 250 to Dustin.
Go ahead and take 250 more from Dustin. 0-0. Guys, pardon me. I got the bronchitis. So he would join the Army and be a basic infantryman and serve at Fort Knox and would serve most of his time in South Korea.
He just kept saying, "That's a lot of gold bars."
Yeah, I was just gonna say Fort Knox would be a pretty cool story to like. Oh yeah, I served. Where all the money. She's still doing
that. This is where the money lives.
And I live here too. You don't live here, David. Shut up, Mark.
I live with the money.
So he also served most of his time in South Korea. He would serve from 1971 to 1974 and then get an honorable discharge, which is actually quite rare for us. I feel like...
They usually just take off.
I don't know that I've ever seen a deserter, but I've always seen the dishonorable discharges. And some of them are just... some of them have been medical, which is not a dishonorable discharge.
I was going to say, that's just other than honorable.
Yeah, other than honorable. But this is an honorable discharge. He served 3 years, got out. He did your standard... Fuck, I should not have joined the Army.
He got in, he guarded some gold bars and got out.
Yeah, went and probably had sex with lots of South Korean hooers and then got out.
Wait, I think I grossly misunderstand where Fort Knox is.
No. He served at Fort Knox.
Yeah.
but he also served most of his time in South Korea. Fort Knox is just a fun highlight to one of the places.
I got you. I thought he was like stationed at Fort Knox, and you were like you knew something about their nightlife that I didn't. I was just kind of like, dang, dude, Fort Knox, Kentucky has like a huge Korean streetwalker like scene apparently.
Oh, I guess Washington.
Early 70s. So I think after losing his adoptive mother, he had a hole that he needed to fill.
Phrasing.
I did it on purpose. I don't write these things. Come on, buddy. Remember that his mom died only 6 years ago to this point, and David is around 20. He has a strong dislike for his stepmom, so he knew he wasn't going to get anything he needed from there. You know, stepmom is not a motherly figure to him.
I have a question. Never mind.
No, what up?
Does he kill women?
You're jumping the gun.
Yeah. Most of them do. So,
It's kind of a common theme.
Yeah, he realizes that his new stepmom not going to be the spot that he needs. He's not going to fill the hole. She's not going to be able to be his mom. So what he does is he goes and he seeks out Betty, his birth mom. Like, yeah, right? This would be a huge fucking mistake. He would grow to hate her for the remainder of his life and could possibly be the turning point for a killer. So
the way
Dustin was kind of like...
The way you phrased that was like, it made me think of that... in the beginning, God created the universe, and to this day, it's been widely regarded as a bad move.
Yeah.
Like, this is the way you phrase that.
Thank you. Comedy genius, I know.
Same energy.
Put it on my headstone. I'll be like 42 when I die, too. So, like, you won't have to remember that for long.
What? I'm almost...
Dustin was kind of going down the right path. He's like, oh, did he kill women? And then we got to a point where it was like, oh, and then he met his mom and he fucking hated her.
Yeah.
So if that was going to answer your question anymore, you should probably have a pretty good idea.
Good job, Captain Foreshadow.
Thanks.
So what could be so terrible about finding your birth mother? Learning the truth.
Yeah.
When David found out that he was basically an unwanted child conceived during an affair to a father that wanted absolutely nothing to do with him and a mother that didn't even really try, it sort of crushed who he believed himself to have been this whole time. He would eventually stop talking to Betty because, you know, he kind of hated her, I think. And in 1975, when David himself claims to have met some gentlemen at a party who were involved in something that he really wanted to get into. Question number 4. What was it that they did that David wanted to do? Were they A, evangelical Christians, B, members of the occult, C, stockbrokers, or D, police officers? It's all the same pretty much, but evangelical Christians, members of the occult, stockbrokers, or police officers.
I like that like day traders are in there.
Okay, Ashley says stockbrokers. Dustin says members of the occult. Take away 250. No, I'm kidding. 250 points to Dustin because yes, indeed, these men were involved in the occult.
I would have been wrong.
I'm going to refer to him as Berkowitz a lot here. I actually wrote it in. Berkowitz claims that he was very fascinated with the idea of the occult and witchcraft, and he had consumed a lot of horror movies and quote satanic movies. He's
Hell
like,
yeah.
I watched Rosemary's Baby 23 times. He had a particular affinity for Rosemary's Baby, and it captivated his mind. He claims that during this time, he reads daily from the Satanic Bible by that douchebag Anton LaVey, and he got seriously into reading. He got seriously into his reading, and he began to perform satanic rituals and incantations. This allowed satanic entities to slowly enter his mind so that, quote, things were wicked no longer seemed to be such. Which sounds cool as fuck.
It does.
Except for that it's coming out of the mouth of David Berkowitz.
Well, I was going to say, how do we know he's not just like a Southie, like, things were wicked?
I mean, even still, it's cool saying, out of context.
Yeah.
It's around this time, too, that David would realize that his neighbor's dog is asking him to kill people.
Oh, wow. Schizo.
Question number 5.
Well, hold on. Don't say schizo.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say that.
No,
Schizophrenia.
Maybe that dog had a grudge and no thumbs.
Question number 5. What kind of dog was making these demands to David? Was it A, a black lab, B, a German shepherd, C, a husky, or D, a Rottweiler? Which one of these dogs has evil living inside them? Is it A, a black lab, B, a German shepherd, C, a husky, or D, Rottweiler?
Ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters.
Ashley says it's a black lab. Dustin says it's a German shepherd. He's just going to answer B for everything.
Just keep reusing the same card.
Give 250 points to Ashley because a black lab may have been telling David Berkowitz to kill people.
I knew it.
The official story when he is arrested, he'll tell police, is that his neighbor's dog who gave him the motivation to kill. His neighbor's dog is the one who gave him motivation to kill. If this story is to be believed, it would be right about now that the black lab is telling him to kill. It is now December of 1975, and Berkowitz is supposedly deep into the Satanic Bible, and his mind has slowly been invaded by demons so much that his neighbor's dog is, again, telling him to kill. So...
That's awesome. That's just awesome.
I mean, he
I mean, it's not cool that he, like, listened to it, but, like,
Right.
you can... I gotta tell you, I feel like if my neighbor's dog was like... Because I can hear my neighbor's dog through the fence, and if I'm, like, you know, out cleaning the pool or something,
Hey, what
and
up, Greg?
neighbor's dog was like, yo, psst, hey, Greg. Be like, what? And it's like, you need to go kill people. I'd be like, well, let's talk about that later. Let's talk about how you can talk first. Are you like a...
Yeah.
Are you a person in a dog's body, or are you like a...
Nah, man, you're fucking schizo.
We'll see, like, then we're getting somewhere, but,
At
like...
least he's being honest with me.
Yeah, you can't just go full on into murder, I feel like.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want a dog that talks to me. Even if it tells me to kill people, I still want it.
You said dog and
Hi, Homer. Find your soulmate.
Huh?
Nothing. We watch a lot of Simpsons.
Wait a second. Dogs can't talk. Arf, arf. Damn right.
So, yeah, you know, he's probably losing it, right? Mm-hmm.
I still maintain that the dog may just had a grudge.
You might be right, too. Having no thumbs can't possibly be an easy thing to do. So on Christmas Eve of 1975, he would go out into the streets of Co-op City and stab 2 women. The dog told him, sorry, you know. The first woman was a Hispanic woman, but unfortunately was never identified by police, although she was definitely thought to have lived. The second was a 15-year-old girl named Michelle. Michelle was stabbed 6 times, and the injuries warranted a stay in the hospital for over a week. But she did survive this, and at no point was David Berkowitz a suspect in this crime. Seemingly out of nowhere, he decides that he's going to move from Co-op City to Yonkers, which isn't insanely far, but it is a nearly 3-hour walk. He was seemingly reset and relocated to make sure that what was about to happen was not going to be connected to what had just happened. So he goes out one night, does a couple stabbings, both women survive, and he's like, fuck, they're probably onto me, I need to move.
yeah. So nobody caught him yet.
No,
Okay,
I don't think he
just
was
takes
even
off.
like a person of interest, but in
Okay.
his mind...
This is rando.
he's connected to these crimes likely, and he's a
Yeah.
high profile guy. He needs to get the fuck out of here, so he moves to Yonkers. I have never been to New York. I have no fucking idea. I literally Google mapped because I know everybody in New York walks, right? Like, like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they tell you every time, hey, I'm walking over here.
yeah. So I looked how long it would take to walk from Co-op City to Yonkers, and it's a 3-hour walk. So it's not a like, hey, I'm just
You
gonna...
probably gotta cross like 11 bridges and
It's
shit.
something like that.
And
I'm
like
sure.
81 way streets.
I
'cause
will
New
say
York's-
I wrote this outline 6 weeks ago now, so I don't quite remember exact, but I do remember being like, oh, 3 hours. That's not a close one. You could walk to Visalia in 3 hours almost. Like, no, you
Yeah, but
can't, I know.
in New York though, it takes a long time to get somewhere.
I would have
mean,
I would
3
literally
hours-
have no idea. I've never been there. Everything I know of it is strictly from movies. So.
Took me like 4 hours to walk from Bullard and Fresno to my mom's.
Right. It's you don't get very far, but okay. So he moved. It's a 3-hour distance. He's clearly inefficient with his attacks with a knife, and he doesn't like how close he needed to get to his victim in order to perpetrate the crime. So, on July 29th, 1976, in the early hours of the morning, 2 friends were sitting in their car, parked in a Bronx neighborhood called Pelham Bay, and someone's going to be like, it's Pelham, you fucking idiot!
You're walking over here!
And unwinding after a night out. They had just spent the evening at a club. Question number 6, what was the name of the club? Was it A, Shakers, B, Don's Disco, C, Peach Trees, or D, the Magic Carpet? Shakers, Don's Disco, Peach Trees, or the magic carpet. Personally, I like alliterations. I would have gone to Don's Disco.
I really like Don's Disco. It feels like if he were to have like a half cover charge.
But don't let me influence your answer.
I feel like if he had a half cover charge, they could call it Don's Discount Disco.
Ooh, I like that. Both of them say A, Shakers, which is a great name. This place, however, was called
Dawn.
Peach Trees.
Oh.
Yes. So these two individuals had just been out all night at Peach Trees, and they were saying their goodbyes. In the car was 18-year-old Donna, who worked as an EMT, and Jody, a nurse. As Donna exited the vehicle, she saw a man quickly approaching the car. He seemed to just appear out of nowhere, Jody would say. The man pulled a gun from a paper bag and dropped into a crouching, aiming position and opened fire on the car. That drop shot son of a bitch.
Right? Drop shotter.
Was he in a movie?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna aim a gun, that is definitely a better, dropping to one knee. That's a better shooting position.
It's like a classically trained shooting position.
It's almost like someone who was in the army and was an infantryman for 3 years.
That's what I was gonna say. He's in the military,
especially because if I remember right, he wasn't a very big guy.
He's a very small guy.
Yeah, so he was probably in the front when they had to do those drills. So he was the one who was down on one knee instead of the one standing up behind him.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That's where he was most comfortable shooting from.
I don't know shit about army, so
I don't either.
I'm going to army, mother.
I'll tell you all about the war criminals later.
The first bullet would unfortunately instantly kill Donna. A second bullet would hit Jody in the thigh, and a third bullet would completely miss the mark. After the 3 shots, the killer turned away from the women and briskly walked away in the ensuing chaos.
While muttering to himself, hit markers.
So people were like coming out of the apartments pretty quickly, and he sort of just disappeared in the, it's the city that never sleeps,
If you don't run, if you walk, you get away with a lot more.
Jody didn't know her shooter, but was able to provide a description. In addition, several neighbors and Donna's father reported seeing a yellow car in the neighborhood with a suspicious white male that seemed to match Jody's description of the man that had attacked them, which was a 5'8" man around 200 pounds and dark hair. So I guess it's not small.
5'8"?
When you see him, he looks small, and 200 on top of 5'8", that's kind of stocky. That's a big frame.
Yeah.
But when you see him later, I'm assuming, prison's not keeping him quite as plump as he was on the outside.
It's hard to stay fat when all you get's gruel.
Yeah.
Crusty brand imitation gruel.
Nearly 3 months later, in a residential area of Flushing, Queens, another shooting would take place. October 23rd, 1976. This would also target 2 people in a parked vehicle. Carl was a 20-year-old security guard, and Rosemary was an 18-year-old student. As they sat talking in the car, the glass around them began to shatter. Carl felt pain in his head, but adrenaline was high. Rosemary stayed cool as fuck under the pressure and was able to start the vehicle and drive away. As they drove towards help, they would realize that Carl had actually been shot in the head. It was an injury that would eventually require a metal plate to replace part of his skull, but Jesus H. Christ, can you imagine the adrenaline that was coursing through your veins in order to big man part of your skull missing?
I feel
that's crazy.
And I could be wrong because I don't know shit about fuck, but I feel like there's not a lot of nerve endings in your coconut. Like
I think
there's a lot of nerve beginnings, but they're further down. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it was if you've seen Hannibal, and he's talking when he's like eating Ray Liotta's brains. Yeah, I think that's fairly true. Like people are awake during brain surgery.
That's they have to be awake.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's something I like. I could see you big manning piece of your skull like that because, like I said, there's not a lot of nerve endings, so it just kind of goes in one side of the shell and out the other.
It's fucking crazy. I think
it was
more
how many
like
times you hit your head.
I think it kind of got him and took off that piece.
Yeah,
from what I'm understanding. Right here, crowd.
So that would be your
video people, all 11 of you.
Right,
gotcha.
Right, optical.
I have no fucking clue.
That'd be up here. Optical.
I stopped studying phrenology in the late 80s.
Yeah.
It will probably come as no surprise that neither of the victims of the attack saw their attacker, as it all happened so fast, and they were not really paying attention to what was happening outside of the car.
Just sitting there, and the glass around you just starts exploding,
and your part of your skull goes missing.
Yeah.
But fucking,
you guys feel a draft?
What huge ups to Rosemary, though. The car starts exploding around her.
People in horror movies can't even do that.
Carl's brains are fucking hanging out, and she's all, I'm getting you out
I'm
of here,
gonna
bro.
drive. Yeah.
And it's the 70s, so I have to imagine the car took like 4 fucking turns to fucking start. Yeah.
Guess what? I think she probably had a
gas pedal.
She probably had a dash.
You're flooding it!
He looks.
But his brain's all.
I was gonna say,
God
damn it! That's what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Police believe this attack was meant for two women, and the fact that Carl's shoulder-length hair, it's the fucking late 70s after all, is said to have made the attacker believe he was taking aim at a vehicle full of only women. Question number 7.
Dustin.
The attack brought extra attention due to Rosemary's father. Why? Is it A, he was an NYPD detective? B, he was an assistant mayor of New York? C, he was a local news anchor? Or D, he was a New York acting legend?
Or E, he's walking over here.
NYPD detective, assistant mayor of New York, local news anchor, or a New York acting legend?
If it helps influence your decision at all, his last name was Sipowicz.
Ashley
That
said he
helps
was a
nothing.
local news anchor. Dustin said he's an NYPD detective. The attack brought a lot of attention by police, not just for the reasons you'd think, but because as well as being a big deal crime, the father of Rosemary was an NYPD detective. Give Dustin 250
Good
points.
job.
And he had been on the job for over 20 years. So he is a very well-respected NYPD detective. He's not some fucking rook.
I knew I got it before you said it because Greg went to go edit my my points.
Oh, really?
When you were like in the
Whatever.
build up to who got it, I was like, oh, I think he was a detective. So.
Yeah.
But don't let that fool you, because I am not a smart man.
I'm not a smart man.
But that Sipowicz joke was pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, you just got to go back in time and watch NYPD Blue so you can see Dennis Franz's ass on network television.
see, I thought when I said Florida State Seminole vesicles,
It was
that
pretty
was pretty funny.
But nobody laughed.
So they may have led some to believe the attack may have been targeted and targeting him instead of just targeting random women. They couldn't determine any connection regardless, and for some time, they won't even connect this case with that of Jody and Donna, even though the MO is very similar. This is due to the fact that the crimes were committed in locations that caused investigations by different precincts. So we see this a lot, too, where...
They're all really good at sharing information.
And in this case, all of the police are actually doing a good job investigating the crimes.
They're just not
They're
sharing
not
information.
sharing information. And this is like one city. You know, sometimes we talk about where it's like, oh, you know, over state lines, they didn't share this information, and if only they had. Or, you know, one was in Kentucky and the other was in California, and if only they were able to
they didn't
get
know.
together.
I've
Yeah.
seen enough
These
police
are all just-
movies to know that somebody walked up and was like, this is my investigation now. No, it's not. I'm in charge here. Ah. And they just start like bumping their beer guts together and arguing about who has better pizza.
Everybody
But
wants
also,
the collar.
also
Everybody wants the
though,
collar.
they probably back then didn't have like the technology that we do now to be
Oh,
able
for
to
sure
like
not.
get
For sure
all
not.
on one thing and be like, oh, they've been in this. It's like, oh, beep 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 beep.
Funny thing is that while does exist a national database,
Yeah.
lots of police
Well,
stations and precincts don't.
and what
use
year
it
is this?
now?
Even now?
1975
1975. So like,
yeah.
even like the
or early 76.
even the internet in its infancy wasn't
Yeah,
like.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
You'd have to be like, let me call
Well, they-
every county.
No,
and be
they're in
like,
a- they're
I
in-
have this
There's like
number
there's a
of-
major database that they have, but it's not like something that you can just access like
It's
they can.
it's a
now.
file cabinet somewhere that,
you have
that
to, like-
Doris has to go find.
You got to
the-
go pull physical records and look.
of how many last names and all that.
or
Yeah, that
whatever it
makes
is.
sense.
How
Right,
many?
right,
yeah,
right,
how many
right.
times
Numbers.
you're pulling mugshots of people who look similar and
I could see how that would be difficult.
yeah.
Yep. So the one clue they had was the slugs pulled from the car, and they knew that they were .44 caliber. Although they do not, they do admit that most of the slugs were destroyed. It is unlikely they will be able to pair any to a gun that fired it. So I mean, these slugs hit bone, they hit metal, they hit. None of them came out clean enough. They believe at the time that they're going to be able to identify it back to a weapon specifically, but they're able to note that it is a .44 caliber weapon. So you've got one clue so far.
To the best of my knowledge, the only gun that fires a bullet that hits multiple things, and stays in shape is a Mannlicher Carcano rifle.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what happened.
Carcanos are bad as fuck.
That's what Lee Harvey Oswald used. That was the
Okay.
magic bullet. That was it was intact when it was on the.
It's one of my favorite guns in Red Dead 2. So it's now November of 1976. So most of that was in 76.
Okay.
I was incorrect, not
Okay.
75. But I mean, exactly.
Still.
November 27, 1976, two young ladies were walking home from a movie just after midnight. They are high school students Donna and Joanne, who are 16 and 18. And just after arriving at the home of Joanne, while the two were hanging out outside, they were approached by a man in camouflage. The man walks up to them and asks in a high-pitched voice, "Can you tell me how to get?" And then pulled a revolver out and began firing. Each victim was struck once and dropped. Berkowitz then fired several times towards the girls while running away. A neighbor claims to have heard the shots and looked out the window and saw a blonde man running past with a revolver in his hand. Donna had been shot in the neck but suffered from non-life-threatening injuries. Joanne would be hit in the back by the bullet that struck her. She would be hospitalized and in serious condition, and while doctors were able to save her life, they could not save her legs. The bullet struck her in the spinal cord and rendered her paraplegic. And that, to me, is very fucked up. Not only do you have the trauma of being attacked, being shot.
You probably wake up and have no legs.
You now wake up and you don't. And you have what some people would consider a fate worse than death. You can't walk anymore. I'd rather, I don't know that I personally believe that. I think I'd probably rather be alive and not able to walk. But I think there are a lot of people, I've never not been able to walk. So I can't say with any fairness that I understand what that would be like. But it's tough to fathom. Mm-hmm. It's tough to fathom just going out seeing a movie. You get attacked. Your friend gets shot in the fucking neck. You get shot in the back. You wake up 4 days later in the hospital. And they're like, hey, you made it. But you're never going to walk again.
Yeah.
It's New York. So, of course, the doctors.
When they have that phantom phase, too, where they do think they feel that they have legs.
Yeah, or like people who lose limbs, right?
Yeah.
Phantom limb. My uncle says he has that shit. He's missing like a pinky and half of this, and he says that they're there to this day. They're there. Like he still tries to use them sometimes. He hasn't had it for like 50 years.
That's
and he
crazy.
Still tries to use it.
Wait, I got a question.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out what he wanted to get?
What are you talking about?
When he walked up before he shot him and said, "Yeah, can I get?"
Oh yeah. Can you tell me how to get
Sesame Street? Yeah,
Sesame Street.
Okay.
It is New
That's
York.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
Sunny days, I'm gonna shoot you in the face. Yep.
I'm just now I'm realizing that so he's got this thing with twos, which is weird. All of them have been in twos.
I think it's just an easy, it's not too many, but it's enough to where it's more than one. I think 3 might be too many to make sure you can get all your shots.
Well, I was gonna
off.
say that's 2 shots per.
Yeah.
Oh,
because he's got a revolver.
44. I got it.
He's got a revolver.
Okay, so she's never gonna walk in. So heart goes out to Donna. Heart goes out to everybody, obviously, but it would really suck to lose your ability to walk again. In the wee hours of January 30th, this time 1977, so this is 2 months later, 26-year-old Christine was sitting in a car with her fiancé John near the Forest Hills Long Island Railroad Station in Queens. Question number 8. They had just seen a movie. Which one?
Ooh, what year?
This is 1977, and I will assure you that all of these movies came out...
Say question number 8?
Yes.
7. I thought you said 7. Oh.
8. All of these movies came out during this time of 1977, so you're not going to catch me in a chronological mistake.
All right,
so was it Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Saturday Night Fever, or Rocky? What a fucking, holiday season for movies, huh? Was it Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Saturday Night Fever, or Rocky?
Were they boyfriend and girlfriend?
Fiance.
Mary.
His friends were like, David, what are you doing? You're spending your life savings at the movie theaters. Gone to see 4 movies? You've spent 30 whole cents. I don't even know how you can feed your freaking family. And he's like, don't worry, I have a fucking part-time job.
Whoa! Greg.
Social commentary.
Greg taking on the fucking the heat of the economy right now. Ashley says Saturday Night Fever. Dustin says Close Encounters of the Third Kind. They were hanging out, feeling all pumped up, ready to fight because they had just seen the movie Rocky. And were making plans to go to a dance hall and get down for the rest of the night, Saturday Night Fever style. John, suddenly gunshots ring out. And the glass in the car shatters. What?
I just picture him trying to run up a flight of stairs and then getting halfway up and being all out of breath. And then she's like, David, come on, you're embarrassing yourself. And he's like, I'll be right down. I'm just going to finish this Rocky thing.
I committed, and you know what? The movie was really good, so hopefully they don't make like 7 more that fucking suck. So they just finished seeing the movie Rocky and were making plans to go to the dance hall and get down for the rest of the night. Suddenly, gunshots ring out, and the glass in the car shatters. John was injured by flying glass in the car, but immediately drove out of the area in an attempt to get to safety. Sadly, his attempt was for naught because Christine had already been struck by 2 .44 caliber rounds. She fought hard, but would eventually lose the battle several hours later, and John would lose his young fiancée.
Aww.
Neither victim saw their attacker prior to the chaos breaking out. So every one of these is like a
random
it's a sneak attack.
That's what's so scary about it.
They're just chilling. No, it's not like, hey, who's this fucking weird guy creeping around the car? You know,
no.
He's just up. Can you tell me how to get? So this is
We laugh.
Well, listen, this show only exists
because we laugh.
We're not laughing at victims.
No,
we call killers fuck faces.
So we don't get a break.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Dustin's got to pee, so we're gonna take a break. Remember, you guys, come back, or we'll kill you. Why is that so awful? All right, welcome back, everybody. You're here, so we don't have to kill you. If you're not, you didn't hear this, so you're fucking dead. So we're talking about David
don't
Berkowitz.
even know it.
We're right in the middle of some shit happening. Christine was killed. Remember that, guys? Mm-hmm. Shot
and
by the
David.
44. David was not killed. They just got done seeing Rocky. This is investigated, and police are beginning to put things together. A lot of these crimes are like, I think Dustin said 2 people, or was he?
I did.
Yeah, like 2 people. They are late at night. They are
surprise attacks.
Yeah.
They are people with long hair, so they were either women or likely mistaken for women. Mm-hmm. Things are starting to come together. It is about this time when police acknowledge publicly that they are likely looking for connected crimes, but may be searching for multiple suspects, as one of the suspects appears to be a blonde man and the other is a brunette man. They couldn't rule out a dye or a wig, but the descriptions seem to be different enough that they think the crimes are connected, but they aren't sure if it's only one man committing these crimes.
They think it's a gang.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, but also it's dark at night.
It's true.
So.
It's true. But New York is a very well lit place. It's the city that doesn't sleep,
right?
Like it's okay. So they couldn't rule out, obviously a dye job or a wig, but descriptions are they think that there's 2 people. Keep it in mind. It's not a huge thing, but later David's gonna say, hey, I wasn't alone at this. They also released some composite sketches from this time of both a blonde and a brunette suspect. On March 8th of 1977, a Columbia University student named Virginia was walking home when she was approached by a man that was armed. It seems that this time there were unlikely any pleasantries exchanged, like asking for directions. So that is the thing, too. The people that he's walked up to, he has had an interaction. He's gotten their attention and then shot. It's only been once, but he didn't just like drop somewhere and take some shots. But if they've been in the vehicle, there's been no like knock on the window, get him to, it's just been shooting. So again, this one was an attack that nobody witnessed. So a lot of what we have here is just kind of hearsay. But it seems that there was unlikely any pleasantries exchanged, like asking for directions. Virginia saw the man, raised his hand to aim his weapon, and in her short time to respond, she raised her books to protect her head. The bullet struck the books, but ultimately passed through them and into the head of the 19-year-old. The bullet would kill her, and we now have our 3rd death at the hand of David Berkowitz. It is becoming quite clear that a connection between these attacks must be made. Mm-hmm. On March 10th, the police and mayor would have a press conference in which they tell the public. Before I go to this question, Greg, did you have something?
No.
Okay, it's out of my eye. Okay, on March 10th, the police and mayor would have a press conference in which they would tell the public. Question number 9. What would they tell the public? Everything was safe and okay. The killer was looking for certain women. A few of the crimes were being connected by the bullets found at the scene, or that they believed they knew who the killer was. Was it A, everything was safe and okay? B, the killer was looking for certain women? C, a few of the crimes were being connected by the bullets? Or D, they believed they knew who the killer was?
You saw mine. You cheater.
Both of you guys said C, a few of the crimes were being connected by the bullets found at the scene. It was A. They were like, hey, guys, everything's okay. It's fine. Everybody's good out there. Don't worry. Nothing's wrong. But they did know that the same .44 Bulldog revolver had killed Donna and Virginia. But that's not what they told people. So no points for anybody.
Half points for me.
Minus 1,000 for asking for points.
0.5.
It would be later proved that this was inconclusive information at best, but they thought that with combined with other evidence they had made, it was an easy connection to bring. They're like, oh, we've got all this other evidence. That must make this evidence true. That's not how it works. It would later be proved that this was inconclusive information at best. April 17th, 1977.
Objection circumstantial.
Sustained. April 17th, 1977, Alexander and Valentina were parked on the Hutchinson River Parkway service road in the Bronx. Where they were parked is very close to home and even closer to the attacks that started this whole thing on Donna and Jody. Unfortunately, we will not get any of the accounts from the victims in this case because for once, David Berkowitz hit his mark. Someone living in the neighborhood heard 4 gunshots and police came to check out the disturbance. In doing so, they found a vehicle which belonged to Alexander's brother. In the driver's seat, they found Valentina dead from a gunshot wound. In the passenger seat, barely clinging to life, they found Alexander with 2 gunshot wounds to the head. He would die a few hours later in the hospital without ever being able to give any information of the event. Question number 10. What was different about this attack? Was it A, a different gun was used? B, they found a note nearby? C, there was an actual witness? Or D, there were multiple shooters? Different gun, a note nearby, there was a witness, or multiple shooters. Ashley says a different gun was used. Dustin says they found a note nearby. The way this murder differed from the others was near the bodies of Alexander and Valentina. They found a handwritten note, and that note said,
I'm excited.
I am deeply hurt by your calling me a Wemon hater, W-E-M-O-N.
Good speller.
I am not, but I am a monster. I am the son of Sam. I am a little brat. When Father Sam gets drunk, he gets mean. He beats his family. Sometimes he ties me up to the back of the house. Other times he locks me in the garage. Sam loves to drink blood. Go out and kill, commands Father Sam. Behind our house, some rest. Mostly young, raped and slaughtered. Their blood drained, just bones now. Papa Sam keeps me locked in the attic, too. I can't get out, but I look out the attic window and watch the world go by. I feel like an outsider. I'm on a different wavelength than everybody else. Programmed to kill, T-O-O. However, to stop me, you must kill me. Attention all police. Shoot me first. Shoot to kill or else. Keep out of my way or you will die. Papa Sam is old now. He needs some blood to preserve his youth, but he's had too many heart attacks. Too many heart attacks. Ugh, me hoot, it hurts, sonny boy. I miss my pretty princess most of all. She's resting in Our Lady's house, but I'll see her soon. I am the monster, Beelzebub, the chubby behemoth. I love to hunt, prowling the streets, looking for fair game, tasty meat. The Wemon of queens are the prettiest of all time. I must be the water they drink. And not it, I must be the water they drink. I want to kill anyone. No, sir, no more. I must honor thy father. I want to make love to the world. I love people. I don't belong on earth. Return me to the Yahoos, to the people of Queens. I love you, and I want to wish you all a happy Easter. May God bless you in this life and in the next. And for now I say goodbye and good night. Police, let me haunt you with these words. I'll be back. I'll be back. To be in... what is this? Oh, and then there's some words written that were interpreted as bang, bang, bank, bang, ugh, yours in murder, Mr. Monster.
I love it.
Sweet.
You know what that feels like to me?
I feel like you're reading out of a novel a little bit of the time.
It feels like, you know, that like copy pasta that the Navy SEAL copy pasta.
You little son of a bitch.
Yeah, listen here, you little shit.
Yeah.
I graduated top of my sniper class from the Navy SEAL Academy.
Yeah.
I've got the whole strength of the U.S. military behind me. That's what that feels like. It just feels like some little dick guy flexing hella hard for no reason.
Oh, you mean the chubby behemoth?
Yeah, dude, like...
But he hates Wemon.
Yeah, but that's that same energy. That's what it feels like to me.
Sounds like my older brother's letters from prison.
It's a story for another day. Several theories were floated via clues from the letter, including guesses as to the person's national origin on some phrases used in the letter. He's
not a native English speaker.
Well, that one. What was the line?
Z women are.
Me hoot it Ertz Sunny Boy was some. I think I referenced here. Let's see. They also thought there may be a connection between the healthcare workers and too many heart attacks line. On May 26, 1977, police would release a psychological profile on the suspect and described him as neurotic and probably having paranoid schizophrenia. Okay, so question number 11. The psychological profile, also said the killer was likely to feel as if he were A, invincible, B, a god, C, doing this for good, or D, possessed by a demon.
Oh, shoot. I can't decide between two.
Flip a coin.
What did it land on?
Here you go.
Tails.
Heads or tails? Tails is a
Okay.
barcode.
Heads. Thanks, Harbor Freight. Sponsor
Okay.
us.
Both of you guys said be a god.
I thought it was D. But we flipped this.
You should have went with D because, yes, indeed, David, believing that he was the victim of a demonic possession.
Negative 500 points.
Well, I flipped it for a Harbor Freight.
4 days later, on May 30th, 1977, Jimmy Breslin of the Daily News got a handwritten letter from someone who referred to themselves as the 44 caliber killer. The back of the envelope contained the line, blood and family, darkness and death, absolute depravity, 44. The letter itself contained the following. Hello from the gutters of New York City, which are filled with dog manure, vomit, stale wine, urine, and blood. Hello from the sewers of New York City, which swallow up these delicacies when they were washed away by the sweeper trucks. Hello from the cracks in the sidewalks of New York City, and from the ants that dwell in these cracks and feed on the dried blood of the dead that is settled into the cracks. JB, I'm just dropping you a line to let you know that I appreciate your interest in those recent and horrendous 44 caliber killings. I want to tell you that I read your column daily, and I find it quite informative. Tell me, Jim, what will you have for July 29th? You can forget about me if you like, because I don't care for publicity. However, you must not forget Donna Loria, and you cannot let the people forget her either. She was a very, very sweet girl, but Sam's a thirsty lad, and he won't let me stop killing until he gets his fill of blood. Mr. Breslin, sir, don't think that because you haven't heard from me in a while that I went to sleep. No, rather, I'm still here, like a spirit roaming the night, thirsty, hungry, seldom stopping to rest, anxious to please Sam. I love my work. Now the void has been filled. Perhaps we shall meet face to face someday, or perhaps I will be blown away by cops with smoking 38s. Whatever. If I shall be fortunate enough to meet you, I will tell you about Sam if you like, and I will introduce you to him. His name is Sam the Terrible. Not knowing what the future holds, I shall say farewell, and I will see you at the next job. Or should I say, you will see my handiwork at the next job. Remember, Miss Loria, thank you. In their blood, and from the gutter, Sam's creation. 44. Here are some names to help you along forward with the inspector to the NCIC. The Duke of Death, the Wicked King Wicker, the 2 disciples of hell, John Weedy's rapist and suffocator of young girls. Please, P.S., please inform all the detectives working the slang to remain. P.S. J.B. Please inform all the detectives working in that case that I wish them the best of luck. Keep 'em digging. Drive on. Think positive. Get off your butts. Knock on coffins, etc. Upon my capture, I promise to buy all the guys working the case a new pair of shoes if I can get the money. Son of Sam.
This guy's a fucking psychopath.
Dude,
I think he's poetic.
first of all,
That one was written
Way better than
much
the other.
better than the first one.
Yeah.
First of all, don't break an arm jerking yourself off, David Berkowitz. Good lord.
You call him Berkowitz, it's okay.
Like, what are you doing? Who writes stuff like that? Like,
David Berkowitz.
golly. And then beyond that, you don't get to give yourself a nickname. Like, that's not something that happens. You get nicknames.
It's the
You
problem
get
is the media let him name himself.
that is a problem because that needs to be like when I'm president, that will be law. You don't get to give yourself a nickname.
A nickname is somebody that...
A nickname is assigned to you.
Yeah.
Like, he was the .44 caliber killer. Like, that was what he was known as in the media until he gave himself the name the Son of Sam, and they ran with it.
I'm just saying.
It's the media's fault.
Yeah, you don't get to give yourself a nickname.
So, he had also drawn some symbol under the signature. This would start a strange reach fest by police after Jim Breslin hands the letter over to them. Because remember, Jim Breslin's a news guy in New York. Son of Sam sent it to him. He's like, holy fuck, I don't want this. Take that. Jim thought the information within was given by someone with actual knowledge of the crimes. Thing was that this letter was not only free of spelling and punctuation mistakes, it was actually written quite well. Not only written well, but written beautifully, leading the police to speculate that it was created in an art studio type setting. At one point, they come to the conclusion that the letter is written by someone who is professionally capable of calligraphy and design. Therefore, must be question number 12. What did the police believe the writer of the letter must be? Was it A, a sign painter, B, a pinstriper, C, a comic book letterer, or D, a local artist? Sign painter, pinstriper, comic book letterer, or a local artist. And it was written beautifully. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
But you can write something dumb and write it beautifully. Like, it did have like a
poet,
very poetic flow.
Yeah, not calling poets
and the
dumb,
first
but it
one
was
is,
very nice.
Oh, calling all women. Dustin says pinstriper. What'd you say? Local artist?
Yeah.
Local artist. The police officers believed that they were looking for a person who was capable of being a comic book letterer. Wow. Even going as far as to approach the New York's DC comic office and ask them if the letters matched anything with any of their artists. So they go into DC. What?
You fell into a German accent for a second. Ask them.
This is just what I revert to when I am having troubles with the reading. So they go into DC Comics and they're like,
did anybody get points?
No.
What'd you say?
I did.
Pinstriper.
I got all the points.
Yeah.
Nobody got points. No points. Shut up. So yeah, they go to DC in New York and they're like, look at this fucking letter and tell us if you think anybody who letters your comic books could have done this. Also, due to the term Wicked King Wicker being used in the letter, the detectives set up a private screening of the Wicker Man to see if there were any clues they were missing in the movie. How fucking stupid.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The Daily News published a portion of the letter in coordination with the police. In return, it was the single highest selling edition of the newspaper that police ever that the newspaper had ever had, and police received literally thousands of leads and clues due to its publication, 0 of which led to anything of any help. So just a huge fucking waste of time is what it was. It came to light that the women being targeted were young women with long dark hair. This caused thousands of women to cut or dye their hair, as well as stores having a hard time maintaining short, light-colored wigs. In June, so there's like a
I think I remember this
fucking
story now of that.
June 26th of 1977, 20-year-old Sal and 17-year-old Judy were sitting on Sal's car in Bayside, Queens, after a night of dancing at the discotheque. Around 3 a.m., 3 gunshots rang in the night and crashed through the glass of Sal's vehicle. Both were hit by bullets, and Sal took his in the forearm. Judy received 3 bullets, 1 in the neck, 1 in the shoulder, and the last to the right temple. They would both survive the ordeal.
No way.
Neither saw their attacker, but both say that they were talking about the Son of Sam case only moments before having bullets rip through their car and bodies.
Fucking built different, though.
Yeah, but neck and temple, you said?
And back. Neck, back, and right temple.
And survive.
And has recollection of the event.
Built different.
Yeah.
With neither of them saw their attacker, a witness claims to have seen a man in a leisure suit quickly leaving the area and was even able to provide a partial license plate number.
Leisure suit Larry.
Yeah. Since the letter to the Daily News mentioned July 29th, the anniversary of the first attack, police set up a dragnet around New York City, but the day came and went and nothing they believed to be a Son of Sam attack occurred. The day passed with nothing happening. 2 days later, on July 31st, 1977, a woman named Cecilia Davis was walking her dog near her home when she noticed a police officer ticketing a few vehicles on the street, one of which was a yellow 1970 Ford Galaxy. She remembers this one specifically because just after the officer left, a man approached the car and gave Cecilia the elevator eyes, as my friend Hella Gregg says, and seeing that he held a dark object in his hand, Cecilia hightailed it out of there and went home. Not long after arriving home, she believes that she may have heard gunshots. She stayed quiet about the event for a few days before realizing that the news mentioned that on a night in that area, a couple named Stacy and Rob, again sitting in their car near Bath Beach on a first date together, were kissing, which is why they didn't notice when a man walked up to their car and got extra close, within about 3 feet, and fired 4 rounds into the car. Every round hit its mark, and Robert lost his left eye. Stacy would lose her life as a result for injuries. After hearing about this and putting these facts together, Cecilia reported her story to the police. They were able to look at the records of the cars given tickets that night. One of them was a yellow 1970 Ford Galaxy registered to one David Berkowitz. In an absolutely insane turn of events, on August 9th, NYPD detectives James Justice calls the Yonkers Police Department to see if they can bring a man named David Berkowitz in for questioning. So the precincts are talking now.
Yep.
That's good.
Communication.
Yeah, right. The call was initially taken by a relative of one of David's alleged cult buddies. She also lived behind him and knew his behavior. She told the detective that Berkowitz had also shot and wounded their black lab, Harvey, which is the dog who was talking to him initially. She told Detective... What's that?
The Satan dog.
Mm-hmm. She told Detective Justice that he felt bad because she was just taking care of the dog for her dad, Sam.
Oh, man.
At that moment, Detective Justice thought he was headed down the right path. When Justice asks Yonkers police for help rounding up David, they inform him that they are also suspicious about David as well due to some crimes he's wanted for in their jurisdiction. One of the officers even went as far to say that he believed that Berkowitz was the son of Sam. The next day, police tracked down the Ford Galaxy outside the apartment building of Berkowitz. Question number 13.
Hold on, before you go to the question, just imagine how annoying it would be to work with that guy like 6 months down the road.
He's like, hey, do you remember when I said it was the son of Sam? I swear to God, I said that shit.
I called that.
Hey, Mark, do you hear that shit? I fucking said it was the son of Sam. I swear to God. Before we even fucking got out there, man, I was like, it's the son of Sam.
You don't believe me? You don't believe me?
Look at the official report. I put it in the report.
Ask Ronnie. Ronnie was there.
So question number 13. When they located David's car, what was one of the first things that they saw on David's back seat? Was it A, a gun, B, a ski mask, C, blood, or D, ropes? A gun, a ski mask, blood, or ropes? Both of them say a gun, and they'll both get 250 points because on the back seat of the car, they did indeed see a gun, some ammunition, and so they got into David's car to find the gun as well as a bag with items like ammunition and a fucking map to all the crimes.
No way.
Yeah, but they did kind of illegally search his vehicle too.
Well, yeah,
talk about leaving some evidence.
Yeah.
But if they don't follow protocol,
it's inadmissible.
Yeah, it's inadmissible evidence, so it can't be used against you in court.
Yeah.
So
I know.
they they
Gotta
can't.
kind of do it the right way.
Yeah, you got to be cool about it.
So on the backseat of the car, they found that shit. They first thought was to go up to his apartment and just knock after they saw the contents of the car. However, tactically and legally, they needed to slow down. A gunfight in a narrow hallway that was occupied by other apartment residents would not be a good look. So they decided that they were going to wait it out and they'd get a search permit and go into the apartment once they saw David leave. However, at the time David left the house, they did not have such a permit. Instead of letting David leave, they approached his vehicle from multiple sides and point their weapons at him. There are many stories of what the next few things were, but the one that seems to be the most consistent is the one that David Filatico finally having the upper hand and David saying, well, you got me. Filatico asked, now that I've got you, who have I got? To which Berkowitz replied, you know. Filatico demanded, no, I don't. You tell me. And Berkowitz turned and looked at John and said,
I know my rights. I don't have to identify myself.
Said, I'm Sam. Filatico said, you're Sam? Sam who? And he said, Sam, David Berkowitz. 2 days later, during an interview that lasted about 30 minutes, Berkowitz admits to all of the attacks and expresses his interest in pleading guilty to them all. This is when David would say the neighbor's dog Sam demanded the neighbor's dog Harvey, who was owned by Sam. He called him Sam. I don't know.
Well, he called himself Sam too.
Yeah.
And he was also
he's
the
kind
son
of a
Sam.
fucking crazy.
Sounds like one of those I am my own grandpa things.
Yeah. So the dog had demanded blood of pretty young girls. So the black lab was giving all of the comments he had to obey, and all it wanted was death. After only a few weeks, David was allowed to communicate with the world via a letter in the New York Post. I have no fucking idea why they allowed this to happen, but in it he hints around the demonic possession thing, but also alludes to the fact that he may not have acted alone, and there may be more people with similar motives out there to already do what he did. Less than 2 years later at a press conference, David would claim that the possession thing was all a hoax. He really planned the murders to get revenge on a world that he felt had rejected him, according to David Abrahamson, Berkowitz's court-appointed psychiatrist. This was all a part of the strenuous mental health examinations he underwent to determine his ability to stand trial. The 3 tests all revealed that David Berkowitz was indeed fit to stand trial, and this is how fucked he was. Despite 3 separate and unbiased tests determining him fit to stand trial, his defense's official stance was to plead insanity. There's literally 3 different unbiased board-certified doctors like, he's fine. He's an asshole. He's pretending to be crazy. Perfectly fit to stand trial. His defense is like, he is a crazy asshole.
Yeah.
I don't even know, man.
I mean,
Claiming insanity.
he said, like, you got to be crazy to try that. You know what I mean? Like, the proof is kind of in the pudding. Like,
Yeah,
if he's really, like, they got all these people saying you're not crazy, and then he's like, well, I'm going to plead insanity. That's insane. That's an insane move.
Yeah, but
So,
to have a
Yeah.
legal team that's like, you know what?
He's crazy.
Let's go for it.
here's what we're going to do. We're going to fuck this up from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to go for a mistrial.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Since he pled guilty, his sentencing was only 2 weeks later, but it would be a far greater spectacle than the trial would have been. Berkowitz tried to jump out of a window off the 7th floor. He was quickly restrained by court officers, and once realized this, began to chant repeatedly, "Stacy was a whore! Stacy was a whore!"
I like
Stacy being his last victim.
I like to think that the windows were just like plexiglass. Like he just
bounced off it.
Yeah, like a hockey player just into the window and then you know back onto the ground and like
Yeah, I'm 7th story.
yeah.
I mean,
Like hotel windows don't open above the 3rd floor.
If you know you're going to prison for life, swan diving out of the 7th floor might seem like a better option.
So for the 2 years before the trial, he was in jail, or
Yeah.
they let him out.
No. He's
Oh, okay. He's been held this whole
sufficiently,
time.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because he's pled guilty. This is only 2 weeks. 2
Oh,
weeks,
I'm
not
sorry.
2 years. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So he
I heard
pleads
it wrong.
guilty, and so when you plead guilty, they don't, there's not a jury, there's not a big trial.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, your sentencing is in 2 weeks. So they bring him back 2 weeks later, and he tries to fucking jump out of. It's his first and probably last opportunity he knows to be
To plead
somewhere up
insane.
high enough to jump out of a fucking window. That's my guess, and it could be. He's already been proven to not be insane, so nothing he does now, they're not gonna be like, oh, whoa, slow down here, buddy. He might be crazy. I think this was perhaps a true intended suicide.
Yeah.
He didn't do a good job.
So what happened to?
Nothing. He didn't
didn't
get out
break-
the window.
Oh,
Yeah, no, he
I'm
didn't.
sorry. This
No,
was
no, no.
intense.
Bounced off the window.
Yeah, that's why I said I like to
I'm
think it was
sorry.
hockey
Yes.
glass. And
Okay.
Well, okay, so
I'm not
that's what he says. So the great Berkowitz tried to jump out of a window. He was very quickly restrained by court officers.
oh, so he never even made it to the window.
I think he got to the window, but
Where's he going?
Yeah.
Oh, the window. Shit.
Yeah. And that's when he starts repeatedly chanting that Stacy is a whore, Stacy again being his last victim. The judge then ruled that another psychiatric evaluation should take place. So he did kind of get something out of this. And during this evaluation, there was a record of David drawing a picture of a man in a cell with multiple layers of walls around him and a subtitle under the artwork that said, "I am not well at all." Despite all of this, Berkowitz was found once again to be faking most of his symptoms and found competent once more.
I call this piece of art no fucking shit.
Yeah. On June 12th, 1978, he is sentenced to 25 years to life for each crime, and those sentences are to run consecutively. However, despite disagreements from the prosecution due to the terms of a guilty plea, David would be eligible for parole in only 25 years. During his trial, he was held in a psychiatric ward in the Kings County Hospital, and after sentencing, taken to Sing Sing Prison. After that, he would transfer to Clinton Correctional Facility for psychiatric and physical exams. He would bounce around many prisons after spending about a decade in Attica, which David described his time there as, quote, a nightmare. While, it's prison, you fucking asshole.
Attica!
It's not a rainbow. It's not a...
So while in Attica,
It's
David
not called
was...
Attica Day Spa.
Yeah. While in Attica, David was attacked by another prisoner who cut off the left side of his neck from the front, and who cut the left side of his neck from the front to the back, and it required 50 stitches. So it actually went this way.
That's a lot of stitches, though.
Yeah,
but
50.
like,
it was like he tried to slice his throat, but got the wrong side. He went from like side to back of the neck.
Berkowitz
he
turned
got
the
him
wrong
and
way.
was
Yeah,
pulling
perhaps
him.
whatever it was. Yeah. So Berkowitz was able to survive, but 50 stitches in the neck is a fucking
Not hitting an artery.
quite a scare.
Yeah.
So when it was all said and done, David refused to identify his attacker, rather thanking him for bringing some form of punishment to David that he could really feel. Because he was saying like, "Oh, you're putting me in prison. This does nothing. This does
I have
nothing
no
to me."
feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
So he thanked his attacker for giving him some form of punishment.
What a fucking wiener.
Yep. Like many dirty pieces of shit, he converted to loving the fuck out of God while he was in prison. And if you find his website, whose name again I'm not going to share, and I totally plagiarized from it, come and get me, bitch. That's right, you can't. You're in prison, fucking asshole. Due to the Son of Sam law, which was placed into effect when it was rumored that Berkowitz was offered a large sum of money for his story. So you can't do shit,
way.
bro. Fuck you. I plagiarized so much from you.
No.
This would make it past the U.S. Supreme Court after some revision and has since been adopted by 41 states. Berkowitz has been entitled to parole hearing every 2 years since the first one in 2002. Question number 14. Ashley, you got to get this right without Dustin getting it right.
I know.
So I will make you guys write your answer separately. Don't look at her answer.
Yeah, quit cheating.
I'm not looking.
I never said that you were.
No,
I
he
just want to make sure because
You're implying.
he could guarantee a win by only answering the same thing you do. He
I thought we had to
guarantees
draw
himself a
something
win.
at the end.
So
If you tie.
Oh.
Question number 14, and this is multiple choice. In what year did David Berkowitz finally die? 2003, 2006, 2011, 2016, 19, 21, or he is still alive. 2003, 2006, 2011, 2016, 2019, 2021, still living.
I'm glad I didn't say anything earlier because I almost gave this away.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like right out of the gate, too.
What'd you say?
No, I didn't say. That's what I'm saying.
I think Jesse kind of gave it away already.
You think so?
Good job.
Great job. Fantastic.
Well, here's the thing. The winner gets nothing, so...
What?
Okay, Ashley said still alive. Dustin said the same.
Ooh.
Dustin's the winner tonight, and David Berkowitz is still alive. Was it when I challenged him to come get me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that at all, but that's okay. I just thought you emphasized, and then he talked too much, and I was like, oh, okay, he's still alive.
I could have been talking to his team.
His
His legal team.
Yeah. So again, David can't make money off his story or anything, and the laws surrounding that are based off of his case. He is not dead yet. He has a fucking website. He's like,
okay, that's really difficult to understand.
Go to it, and you can use the internet in prison. And he's got a website that he updates very often. It's got his story, how God saved him. I'm not putting it in here. Go find it yourself. But David Berkowitz has his own website, and he's a fucking asshole, and I don't care about him. I hope he dies.
Or don't go find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he still in New York or in California with my brother?
He's in New York. Yeah. They don't really transfer states too often.
Kidding. I'm just making a joke.
So he's had a parole hearing every 2 years since 2002, but he has asked for them to stop being necessary. But it is his legal right to have them. So he just doesn't show up to them anymore. You get automatically denied if you don't show up. Like
shit, son. Even Charles Manson showed up to all
Yeah.
his.
He wanted out though.
Yeah.
David Berkowitz does not want out.
Good.
He doesn't want out.
Nobody else wants him out either.
Yeah, he has claimed that his life has much more purpose in prison and that he deserves to be there for the crimes that he committed. While they still have the hearings, he hasn't had one recently due to the COVID-19 thing. Also in 2003, David wrote an open letter to the DC snipers during their attacks and I think that's a serial killers episode.
Yeah.
To ask them to, quote, stop hurting innocent people. There's a whole big thing about David's involvement with the satanic cult, even going as far as mailing a book about witchcraft to North Dakota police in 1979, where he had made marginal notes and underlined passages. The notes made mention of a murdered woman, Arliss Perry, who had been murdered in 1974. When they interviewed David about this, they claimed that he was unable to offer anything of significance. So he's kind of Henry Lee Lucasing this shit. Where he's like, oh yeah, remember that? Arliss Perry, I killed her too.
I feel like David Berkowitz, though, like telling you to cool it, like when you're the DC snipers, and the Son of Sam killer's like, hey, maybe stop.
Yeah.
I feel like that's equivalent to when Carrie Fisher was on the set of Blues Brothers and John Belushi was like, hey, maybe you do a little too much cocaine.
Yeah.
Like,
well, who lived longer?
Yeah.
The Perry case was finally solved
Scoreboard.
in 2018, 44 years after, and had nothing to do with David Berkowitz's bitch ass. In 1993, Berkowitz would publicly announce that while he was responsible for 3 of the killings, he never acted alone, and that the satanic cult was there to commit the crimes with him.
Is the dog.
Sometimes acting as lookouts or drivers, other times they were the ones that pulled the trigger, according to David. Some people claim that even from the beginning, there was a lot of people who were not convinced of the single shooter theory, and that the information David brought forth in 1993 actually made a lot of the information make a lot more sense. In a 2015 video, this motherfucker said that it was there was never a dog, and it was the voice of how do you say it again? Samhain?
yeah, Samhain.
Samhain.
And the media had made up that part. On the other side, however, there are many that think he is full of shit like I do. And Jimmy Breslin said that the night that David walked them through everything, he did it in such detail and clarity that there isn't a way he was recalling someone else's telling. Whichever side of the fence you stand on, David Berkowitz was a coward fuckface that will burn in hell if there is one. There isn't. Thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight. And that is all I have for David Berkowitz. Congratulations,
you
Dustin,
love him so much.
on your victory. The Son of Sam title is yours. You got Ed Gein. You got Son of Sam.
Well, if you ever put us together.
You didn't win?
No.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's right.
Bigfoot.
You said Bigfoot just fucked it up that night.
Yeah, but anytime you have us together, it's an I mean,
so what you're saying is he's like farming wins. He's like bringing you on to be with him.
You hear that, Eddie? Dock him 250 on the scoreboard.
I just know that
minus 1,000.
He always wins somehow. But maybe put me on with someone else.
Nope. Thank you guys.
I can't be trusted.
Thank you guys for coming. You guys, I didn't mention it at the top because I figured we'd do it at the end. Find us on the social media grams, Instagram, TikTok. We're not very active, but we're there. You can talk to us. YouTube, we post all of the episodes there.
You can watch it when it comes out live.
Absolutely. What you are hearing right now is fully recorded. This probably 2-hour episode that's going to be up in a...
Oh, it'll be less than that.
Okay, so this is shorter, but we got to the heart of it tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is probably going to be right around 90 minutes.
Okay, so look at that. 90 minutes, guys. We're sitting here in the studio. You can come be disappointed by what our faces look like. If you go to serialchillerspod.com, has links for everything. Our Threadless store is on there if you guys want any soft goods. Ashley's wearing one of our hoodies from the Threadless store. If you guys want to pick up anything like that, you can do it there. Any support to the show is huge, guys. I mean, it costs money to run, and it's not very much, and I would be lying if I said it takes thousands of dollars to do, but everything that you guys give...
But we would like thousands of dollars to do it.
Everything that you guys give helps us, and it goes directly back into the show, even as far as like having snacks and drinks and stuff for the guests when they come.
Wait, so you guys get snacks?
It's really important, and it really helps.
There's very little protein in these gym mats.
You had gummy bears, and you know it, fuckface.
Yeah, but they weren't the good ones. They don't make your butthole leak.
There's also a sticker store on serialchillerspod.com. You can donate to the show directly. If you don't want to do like monthly Patreon payments, blah, blah, blah. On serialchillerspod.com, there is, I think it says donate. Click on it. You can do a one-time donation as little as $1. Honestly, I mean, we'll get 89 cents out of that. We'll put it in the pot.
Super size.
Anything helps. Yeah, serious. Super size it, bitch. But Patreon is hugely important. One is that it is a monthly recurring thing. If you want to support us for $5, $1, $10. If you do 10,000, we'll take you to Disneyland. It's on there. It is a level. But $5 a month, it helps more than you think. And if you give $5 a month, you get all episodes 1 day early. from the Patreon. So if you want to wake up Thursday morning and be listening to this shit, give $5 a month. You'll get the episode a full day early. Otherwise, it's live everywhere on Friday mornings, but it is help us a lot if we can get a little financial support to the show. If you guys want to mail us anything cool, P.O. Box 1229, Clovis, California 93613. Remember, if it's dangerous drugs, address it to Greg. If it's just regular cool drugs, you don't need to do that for anything. So again, all of this information is available at serialchillerspod.com. Very huge, and I think I forget to say this a lot, but rate and review wherever you're listening, where you're watching. If there's a thumbs up, hit it. If there's a 5-star thing, give us at least 4.5 or fuck off. If you've got something negative to say, come say it to us and let us fix it before you give the review. Or let us say, hey, fuck you, we're not fixing that, and then you can go give a bad review.
Well, I was going to say, also kind of fucking read the room. There's some people who are like, dude, I love the game show aspect. And then, there's, 4 or 5 of those reviews in a row. And then one person being like, this thing is all over the place.
Well, I don't have a problem with being
you have no idea.
constructive and saying, hey, this suffers.
Be more constructive with your
There
feedback.
was one that I actually loved that said, if a podcast was able to suffer from ADD, this is it. And I was like, yeah, that's probably pretty accurate.
Is that the episode I've been on?
Kind of.
But there's also people that are like, oh, I couldn't get in 5 minutes without hearing swearing and people laughing. Oh, is that right? On our fucking explicitly 18 and up rated comedy categoried podcast? No fucking way. No way. You heard swearing and laughing? You heard the fuck word in an explicit 18 plus comedy podcast? You fucking asshole. Remove your fucking review.
Yeah, anyway, you're a loser. Just be a loser.
Rate and review us. Share the show wherever you can. Share it with your fucking weird friends that are weird like us and weird like you.
What was our old deal? You could badmouth us all you wanted in the comment in the review as long as you gave us 5 stars.
Give us 5 stars and then talk a whole bunch of shit. That works for me. That's a pretty
awesome.
good deal.
Yeah.
Also, you can comment us direct if you don't want to give up your social media gram to let us know who you are and DM us. You can go to our website and send an inquiry from any email address. It can be fake, and we will get it. The only thing is you gotta click the box that agrees we're pretty cool dudes.
But we're giving you the opportunity to talk to us directly and tell us how you feel about it. So that's pretty cool.
It's
that
pretty
is cool.
Anonymously. We don't have a way to track that. If you don't type in your real email address in the email address section, we just get your fake email address. So if you want to talk some shit that way, that's a great way to do it. But remember, you're going to have to click the box.
Yeah, by the way,
says we're pretty cool dudes.
By the way, go fuck yourself at gofuckyourself.com. That's not very nice.
And if you don't talk some shit, we won't know you're talking some shit. So talk some shit. So we know.
Yeah. Come find us,
I don't know how that came out, but that's.
Dustin, is there anything you want to add to your victory?
No.
Well put.
Oh my god.
Happy birthday, dude. Happy birthday.
Thank
Ashley,
you. Happy
anything
birthday,
you want to
Greg.
say?
Thanks, man.
Happy birthday, Dustin. Happy birthday, Greg.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Follow me on TikTok at Hella Cool Smash.
There you go. Follow her. Do it. Greg, any final thoughts on your young birthday boy?
No, sir. I'm not a fan of David Berkowitz. The guy's kind of a prick.
Yep.
He was just kind of a prick doing prick stuff for prick's sake. And
I believe at the beginning I said general shithead activities.
yeah.
For Dustin, for Ashley, and hello, Greg. I'm Cromulent Jesse. Remember, don't talk to strangers. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I remember when I wrote that.